Brexit Britain to the world.
It is Wednesday, the 16th of August, 2017. Look, it took nearly a year for them to build a new cafe in the park in Alice Holt Forest near me. That's about how long it takes Britain to do stuff. BT, it's taken them a year to try and solve a problem with my phone bill. They're basically charging me for 3 services on the one phone line somehow. HS2, this new train line heading up north, it's taken them forever just to talk about it. God knows how long it's actually going to take them to actually build the bloody thing. But, you know, we're halfway through Brexit negotiations. Do we really think that we're going to get this all sorted out in the next year or two? I don't think so. Unbelievable, isn't it? That we can imagine that we would. I mean, almost as unbelievable as Jeremy Clarkson telling us that those drunken phone text messages, which had links to porn sites, didn't come from him. They came from some other drunken person who just happened to have his phone. That seems a bit unbelievable. Just as unbelievable as the idea that within 2 years, we will be in a position where we have left Europe and got all the administration right. All that masses of administration we have to untangle from Europe, and then somehow, using good old British democracy and good old British bureaucracy, more to the point, we're going to get all that sorted out. We're going to replace those laws. We're going to have a fully functioning system, replacing what's been built up over decade after decade after decade. Look, this is not going to happen, is it? Even though Britain is obviously so good at lightning speed bureaucracy. So, I mean, it's very simple. We either vote one, Brexit means Brexit. We pay the EU a heap of money to get out. We put up trade barriers and get on with it. And by the way, it's not going to stop the refugees because most of them didn't come from Europe. Or we vote two and go, oops, made a mistake. Let's stay in the world's biggest free trading bloc and enjoy other free trade deals, which can still be negotiated with other parts of the world through the EU. And of course, the EU is going to have far better negotiating power than we are alone to try and have free trade deals with, for example, the United States. So that could be vote two. Vote one, leave, and suffer all the repercussions of a hard Brexit, because that's all we're going to get. Or vote two to stay. Simple. We surely have to have another vote. Now we know very clearly that writing is on the wall. Do you want to jump off a cliff, or do you want to stay on shore? And if we did have that vote, I mean, maybe people will still vote to leave. You know, we may vote to leave in the same way that the United States voted for Trump and therefore voted to leave civilization. We're just voting to leave Europe. It's not that bad, is it? And look, for a lot of people, this is something to celebrate. In fact, in the US, it seems like they admire us for this. They're looking at a TV series now on the Brexit campaign. It's going to be based on the campaign diaries of Aaron Banks, the man who put a lot of money behind the Leave.eu campaign. Danny DeVito is apparently being considered for the role of playing Aaron Banks because, well, they're both short, basically. Both short with something to prove. I don't know who's going to play Nigel Farage. Probably Nigel Farage, I would have thought. First of all, his ego wouldn't accept anything less. You know, he'd have to play himself. And secondly, you know, who else would want to do it? Who else would want to throw their career away? Although it would be quite good, wouldn't it, to be an actor who auditioned for the part, you know, even campaigned extensively for the part, and then when you actually have to deliver on it, just quietly back down and say, oh, no, you're going to step aside now and let someone else do it. That would be rather apt, wouldn't it, really, if you were going to go for that part as Nigel Farage. Meanwhile, the cliff edge does draw nearer, and Nigel Farage and, of course, others are now blaming the government for not effectively delivering on what they campaigned for. They want that hard Brexit. So, freedom of movement. That's going to stop. March 2019. The City of London has already seen an 11% drop in vacancies and 33% fall in people looking for jobs. I think that's because everybody is now too busy attending night classes, learning how to say bye, bye, bye in French, yelled down the phone, because they're not going to be doing it in London fairly soon. You know, people coming back from holidays will now be realizing just how much more expensive it is, because of the devaluation of the pound. And there are predictions that the pound will pretty soon buy less than €1. We're going to feel it even more Maybe this is perhaps why fewer people are actually now going on holiday in Europe. This is why they're getting drunk at airports, because they're just going to the airports, drinking there, pretending they've been without actually going to Europe. And it doesn't matter anyway. They're so off their faces, they can just pretend they had a good time. Come back from the airport, perhaps in the back of a police van, and tell themselves what a terrific time they had without the expense of having to spend money in Europe, and also the inconvenience of having to mix with those foreigners, because Europe is full of foreign people. So you can have a marvelous time and not have to worry about the devaluation of the British currency. In fact, if the pound becomes worth any less, you're going to have to wonder, can we keep coins the same size? It is hard to believe, isn't it, that a penny is actually worth more than the metal involved now in producing a penny. Aren't we going to have smaller coins? Otherwise, the coins themselves will actually be worth more than the value of the coin that it's supposed to be. These are some of the problems we're going to face. Meanwhile, yes, I've done my bit for Britain. I had a holiday. We didn't go overseas anywhere. We didn't have our summer holiday in Spain or Greece or Italy. We went for a good old British holiday in Torquay. Ah, yes. The sea was muddy, the weather was crap, the food was awful, but it was British. A good old-fashioned British holiday full of mediocrity. That's what we voted for. So let's get on with being mediocre. Let's stand up for being sort of maudlin, unexceptional British people in a country where everything is broken. And let's meander towards that iceberg together as one great disorganised, divided people without a game plan. That's what Britain does best. And right now we're showing the world how we do it.
Radio of the UK. From a Brexit Britain to the world.